Changing how we view the past is a profound act of self-love and empowerment. And it allows you to break free from being defined by your history. And it opens up a world where our past is not a weight, but instead a wing, lifting us towards our dreams and our aspirations. Use your past as a wing, not as a weight. Remember that you have the power to change the narrative of your past. And in doing so, you unlock the potential to create a future that's truly yours. Welcome to Becoming Tantalum with me, Megan Bunnell. Discover your brightest self in a journey of transformation and resilience. Let's embark on this path together, starting now. Welcome back, my wonderful listener, to Becoming Tantalum. I'm your host, Megan Bunnell, and today we're going to dive into a topic that has the potential to revolutionize the way you view your life: changing the past. No, I did not invent a time machine. However, I have something that's just as powerful: the ability to transform how you perceive your past, reshape the stories that you tell yourself, and ultimately how those new stories can define your future. We're going to start with the power of perception. So this is a fundamental truth. Our past does not change, but the way we view it can. The stories that we replay in our minds on repeat about our past experiences are tinted by the lenses of our current beliefs and emotions. And by changing those, we can change the color of our past, transforming it from a series of events that happened to us to a collection of experiences that contribute to our growth. That can change the way that you define yourself. And for many of you, unlock the potential for your future. It can change a victim to a powerful victor, the shamed to the proud. First, we need to understand that many of us are held captive by the narratives that we tell ourselves, and we paint ourselves as victims to our past. And that narrative can be so ingrained that we don't even question it. We just accept it as the truth. But what if we could tell a different story? One where we're not victims, but instead survivors, where we're not defined by our past, but that we're shaped by it in positive ways. This process starts by the stories we tell ourselves, the stories you're telling yourself, and asking if they're serving us in our higher good. I love that question. Does this serve you? I ask my clients that over and over and over about the things they say, the beliefs they have, the stories they tell. Is that serving you? So it's important to recognize how our memory works. So our memory is very selective and often really biased. And we tend to remember what matches our current feelings and our current beliefs. But that means, that's like the best news, because that means that you have the power to choose what part of your past you're focusing on. So do you want to dwell on the pain, or do you want to highlight the moments of resilience and of growth? That choice that you make is going to dramatically influence your current well-being and your path forward. It's your choice what you want to focus on. So our perception of the past, that choice that we make to focus, what we choose to focus on, is a tool that we can use to build our future. And by altering the narrative, those stories that we tell ourselves, we can free ourselves from feeling trapped by our history and instead open a realm of possibilities for our future selves. This does not mean that you are denying the pain or the difficulty that you went through in your past, but rather choosing to view them through a lens of empowerment and learning. So I'm going to use this opportunity to share a little bit about my past with you. And I'm going to use two specific examples that are very related to one another. When I was a little girl, 8 to be exact, I was sexually abused and then continuously emotionally abused by my uncle. And I'm going to make the details kind of quick, but you need to know just a little bit so that you understand the shift. So the sexual abuse was short lived and it stopped as soon as I told my parents, but the emotional abuse continued because he was present frequently in my life at all family events. So any holidays, any birthdays, etc. He always was laser focused on me, constantly had his eyes on me, laughed extra hard and uncomfortably, to me at least, at my jokes. He would insert comments in conversations that I was having with other people, even if it didn't really fit into that conversation. And he did this as best he could, as much as he could, as quietly as he could so as to not cause ripples. And most people didn't notice, a few did, but I knew that if I made a big deal out of it, that my family as I knew it would be over, that those moments that we had together, which I cherished, would be gone. And so I kept my mouth shut. And keep in mind, I'm a little girl, right? But I kept my mouth shut and I did my best to ignore it, which, to be honest, never really worked very well. But what I didn't realize at the time, obviously, because I was so little, is that that was shaping my relationships all through my life. Eventually, I was in a relationship with a man who pointed out how inappropriate his behavior was and how that I was choosing to be uncomfortable and emotionally abused to benefit other people. And it was at that moment that I realized that what was happening with my uncle was causing me to feel as though my role in life was to be a people pleaser, make everyone else happy, don't make waves, so that everything can be as smooth, as comfortable as possible. But I was doing this in every aspect of my life, not just with my family. I was never putting my feelings or my needs first. And in honest, it would be, I don't know, an understatement to say that I was putting them last. And all of the results in my life were in line with my actions. I was doing exactly what I needed to do to please those people around me, period. And before I talk about the shift, I need to talk about the second situation because that was really a result of the first. I found myself in an abusive marriage. And you can see how allowing that abuse was just a continuation of me people pleasing. I continued to be in that relationship silently and isolated because I didn't want to shame anyone. I didn't want to upset anyone. And I always just felt like if I was strong enough to handle it, eventually he would come around. Shocker, he didn't. And with both of those situations, I found that I was defining myself as someone who needed to please others, who could take what other people dealt out and do my best to make the most of the situation for everyone else. I was the victim and not worthy of doing anything different. That was my place in life. I just needed to make the most of it. That's how I was defining myself. Well, that's sad. And it didn't serve me. I ended up super isolated in a job I didn't want to have, constantly serving people and meeting their needs, regardless of the toll on me. My self love was non existent, and I found joy only when other people exhibited it to me, as if that was my job, like to control how happy they were. And this all stemmed around me painting myself as a victim. So let's rewrite this story. The original story was that my uncle was a creep, but that I needed to allow that to be so that my family could stay together. The other original story was that my husband was not a bad man and that I could help him work through his issues and could truly be happy, and that that was my job because I married him. Time for new stories. My uncle was also a very supportive man. He came to a lot of our sporting events, supported his family financially, gave us the best Christmas and birthday presents, and did a ton to support my grandma and grandpa. He was a very loyal family man. Through my childhood experiences with him, I gained evidence that I am an extremely strong person and that I can do incredibly hard things. The truth is, he was a sick man and that directly affected me, but that isn't what I needed to focus on. I chose instead to focus on the love that he demonstrated and what he did for our family and be grateful for that. I also chose to focus on how really strong I am and how I can do anything that I put my mind to. Can you feel the difference? between the victim versus a powerful survivor and the lessons that I learned. I can truly feel grateful for my past instead of being ashamed or embarrassed and mad that I let it continue on for so long. Instead, the strength I gained from it can be used to create my future. And the confidence that I have in myself, I use frequently when I'm approached by hard situations because I can do anything. My other story, I learned that I can truly choose to love anyone. And that is a powerful choice. I learned that I'm not defined by who I am or mistakes that I made, and that now I can be stronger, more honestly vulnerable, and a better person to myself than I was. And I'm grateful for that. I'm thankful for the opportunity to learn exactly who I am, what I am worth, and the importance of a healthy relationship. That's exactly what led me to my current life, which I love, and drives me to continue to grow in my self-love and my self-worth and maintaining healthy relationships. Do you see that shift in focus? The transformation of the story? Now my beliefs in my primal brain are focused on stories of perseverance and strength, self-love, and gratitude. I'm not a victim. I'm a person with a past that included tough experiences, all that allowed me to be exactly who I am and where I am. And that motivates me to create the exact life that I want to. If anybody asked me now if my life was handed to me on a silver platter, I would say absolutely. And now you know that that's not exactly true. But I honestly believe that all of the experiences that I have had have led me to exactly where I am, and they were all meant to be. This, though, takes work. It takes repetition. It takes forced changing of the focus on your past. But you can change the story that you're telling yourself, rewriting your past to benefit and to serve you and your future. My friends, it will change everything for you. Please understand, though, that this is not dismissing anything that you've gone through. It's not forgetting what has happened. It's allowing you instead to use that in a way that serves you, builds you, motivates you instead of holding you back. That is powerful and vital if you want to create a future that includes a different definition of yourself. I want to offer you one more tool before we go into how you can go about rewriting your story. Accepting the past. If you haven't yet, if you've already accepted it, that's amazing. But you need to accept your past. You don't need to agree with it. You don't need to embrace it as what should have been. You just need to accept that it was. You can't argue with it. You can't say it shouldn't have been. And in fact, the past happened exactly how it was supposed to. Do you want to know how I know that? Because it did. It happened. It's over. If you can accept instead of argue with your past, all of that energy that you spend fighting it, resisting it, can be put towards creating your future. And that serves you. A simple example of this that's kind of silly is people talking about a sporting event that happened and they blame the ref, or they blame a missed catch, or they blamed a missed goal. And they say, if that, or if this, then, it would have been different. But it wasn't. And then arguing about it doesn't change the score. It doesn't change what happened. So what can that team that lost do to ensure that doesn't happen again? Focus on what they did well. Continue with those strengths. Focus on what they didn't do well and improve in those areas. So they can ask themselves this question, now what? We lost, now what? That is what's in our power, not what was. Arguing serves no purpose. It just wastes your time and your energy on something that's completely out of your control. It was meant to happen the way that it did, because it did. And now what? So one more example, kind of on a more real life level here, but I have a client. He was totally fine with me sharing this. We're going to call him Sean. And Sean was very stuck in fighting and resisting the childhood that he had. He shouldn't have lost his mom at 7. He shouldn't have had an abusive father. A child's life isn't supposed to be that way. And I agree with Sean. If I was going to create a childhood for somebody, I wouldn't include those things in it. But we're not creating his childhood. It already happened. And it happened exactly the way that it was supposed to be, because it did. We can't argue that. We can't change those events, but we can change the way he views it. Being mad and being wishful, feeling grief for what wasn't, only wastes emotions and brain power on the past. Instead, we worked together to find what does serve him from his past. His father gave him a lot of advice and tools to help him financially. He talked with him about finances all the time, which has served him very well so far in his life. The loss of his mother made him appreciate relationships that he has and motivates him to show love to those people in his life on a daily basis. He found strength and resilience in surviving an abusive childhood and a determination to be kind to those in his life. That is what he can focus on. That is the story that he can tell. Once he chose to accept what happened as it was, without wishes, without anger, and to focus on those positives, the freedom that he felt was unmatched. Here's what he said. Suddenly, I was able to be present and love today. I wasn't resisting what was anymore, but embracing what is. I finally feel like I'm in control of today and tomorrow's. That is the power of accepting your past, my friends, and changing the story you tell about it. There's freedom, strength, and energy in that. And that can serve you today and can be used to create what Sean called your tomorrows. So how do you go about doing this? How can you truly accept your past and then work on changing that story? Okay, so to accept it, you need to catch yourself every single time you try to argue with it. Don't have that conversation with yourself. Don't what if. Don't I wish. Instead, replace that argument with what happened was exactly what was supposed to happen because it did. And that made me exactly who I am today, which I have control over. I know that because it happened, and I know that because I have lessons that I can learn. I accept what was. And that has to be done, my friends, on repeat. I accept it exactly as it was. Once you can truly accept it, again, you're not supporting it. You're not embracing it as amazing. You're accepting that it happened and that you can't argue with it. Once you do that, here's some steps to you changing your story to serve you better in your life. Number 1, identify any limiting beliefs. So reflect on those stories that you're telling yourself about the past and identify any narratives that paint you as a victim or as missing out or as powerless. Okay, so just be conscious of what those stories are telling you and find patterns in there that aren't serving you. And then the second thing is to question that narrative. Is this story serving me? Is it empowering me to grow and move forward? And if the answer is no, reframe your story. So begin to consciously, purposefully retell it in a different way. Look for strength that you gained, lessons that you learned, and how you can use those insights positively moving forward. And focus on those on repeat. You can also practice gratitude. Cultivate gratitude for your past experiences, focusing on your gratitude for growths, the lessons learned, your resilience, your strength, because you still have those, and those can be what foster you. And then finally, visualize your future. So use your newly reframed past, your new story, as a foundation to visualize the future that you want to create. See yourself as empowered and free from the chains of your old narrative. And continue to focus on the new story that empowers you and helps you to move forward. Changing how we view the past is a profound act of self-love and empowerment. And it allows you to break free from being defined by your history. And it opens up a world where our past is not a weight, but instead a wing, lifting us towards our dreams and our aspirations. Use your past as a wing, not as a weight. Remember that you have the power to change the narrative of your past. And in doing so, you unlock the potential to create a future that's truly yours. And it's time to change your story, my friends, so that it serves you. Next week, we're going to be talking about creating results. Your life is in your control, and I'm confident that you have dreams and aspirations and big goals that you want to achieve. And I'm going to provide you with the tools that you need to make your dreams a reality in really creating your results, helping you to create the life that you want to live. Thank you for tuning into Becoming Tantalum. If you found value in this episode, please like, subscribe, and share. We all need more value in our life, and you doing that will help more people find it if this is what they need. If you want to take these concepts to a deeper level and truly apply them to your life, I would love to have you join the Tantalum Tribe. This is a monthly coaching program that dives deeper into these concepts and helps you personally apply them to your specific life. We have live sessions, guest coaches, courses, and more. So you go to Tantalum Coaching, that's TANTALUM coaching.com, and just click join the tribe. I can't wait to see you in there. Until next time, remember that your past does not define you. It prepares you, my friend. The future is yours to shape. Until next time, my friend, I'll see you soon. Thank you for joining me today. If you want to take all of these concepts and tools to a deeper level, apply them to your life, and watch the transformation happen, I would love for you to join the Tantalum Tribe. That's a monthly membership where all of our community has access to live coaching, self-paced courses, guest coaches, podcast study guides, anonymous question boards, and more. You too can transform your life using the tools and strategies that we have with accountability built in from our community. I really hope that you join us at tantalumcoaching.com. That's TANTALUM coaching.com. Just click join the tribe. I can't wait to see you in there.
An ironic media production. Visit us at ironickmedia.com.